Alrighty, welcome in everybody. It's time for Three Guys Before the Game. Thank you so very much for being with us. It's episode number 582. This is our Iowa State game preview, and coming up on our program, we're going to take a deep dive into Iowa State. Exactly what is it that has propelled them to a 5-0 start, ranked number 11 in the world, and all of that goes with a night game here in Morgantown. It's going to be a lot of fun. The Dean is here. El Senator is here. So what do you say? We got Textual Healing as well. Got a lot of them, don't we? Oh, a lot of Textual Healing.
Check out the Senator's swag here, man.
Oh, yeah, we'll get into that. Why is this? Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Talk about a blackout.
Yeah.
Double swagged up.
Senator has gone.
Ready.
Are those available for purchase?
They are. The hats.
Just
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
The blackout version of the hat. Well, here's the deal. Let's just start this right now. We will have the gold and blue version, blue hat, gold logo available. Sold out of those at the last game. But special edition, Hoppy, special edition blackout hat, as you can see, black with the white logo. They will be available for sale on
Where?
Friday and Saturday at the food court.
At the food court.
At the food court. Only place you can get them.
In the world.
Oh, which speaking of, limited number available, okay?
Yeah.
Because
20?
Kercheval's taking all our inventory.
What now?
Yeah,
No, not all. I just want to thank you.
Kercheval's
Thank
taking
you.
all the inventory, so we have like 1.5 to sell. So you better get there early because Kercheval's taking all the profits out of here with his. He's got to have all the free gear. Very demanding.
Do I need to bend that like
No, don't
Matt
bend-
Campbell
no,
does?
Don't bend it.
Don't do it.
Okay.
Three Guys brought to us
There you
by
go. There's your
Comax.
blackout official hat.
Okay.
If you want yours, you can get it at the food court.
Three Guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Gomart. Get a Gomart rewards card and instantly save on fuel and food. Go to gomart.com for details or just download the app and you can save just scads of money. Three Guys brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Trying to get confirmation whether or not Iowa State is taking an armada of tri-tunes from Lou Wendell from Ames to Morgantown.
It might be.
Might be doing it that
Probably
way.
had those out on Saylorville Lake. Driving around Saylorville Lake, getting ready for the game.
Just spinning it around.
Probably. If
they-
did some meetings out there.
If the team didn't come in on
Saylorville
pontoons, probably bringing their equipment. Probably bringing their equipment on the
Could
pontoons.
have done that too.
Three Guys brought to us by Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way. It's Tudor's Biscuit World. And by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. They're the sponsor on Spreads on Stats.
You mean Saylorville Lake on the Des Moines River in central Iowa?
Saylorville Lake's nice. Spent a lot of days out there.
Did you?
Yeah, it's nice.
Looks nice.
This time of year, it's really nice. Probably leaves starting to change. You can still. This is great boating weather. You can
It is underrated boating weather right now.
walked outside the other day. I told you in the parking lot. I said, these are the best days of the year. You start cool in the morning, nice afternoon sun, and we're going to have good weather on Saturday night. I mean, as cool as it's going to get at the end of the game, it'll be like mid-50s, which is
Great
great.
football weather, but it'd be nice all during the day for your tailgating, for your food court ventures.
All right, here it is. Great setup, great anticipation for a Big 12 matchup between the Mountaineers and the Cyclones of Iowa State. A lot of activity this week, obviously, because a couple of things. Big picture stuff. West Virginia's coming off its best performance of the season, so that gets you excited. You've got an undefeated Iowa State team, nationally ranked. Had not seen these guys since 2 years ago
Right.
when they had their way with the Mountaineers. Now, the last time they were here in Morgantown had a bunch of NFL cats.
Boy, they did. We were doing that, talking about that last night. They had some dudes.
They had dudes, all right, and Brock Purdy and Breece Hall and the
Charlie Kohler, the tight end, Chase Allen.
9'5" tight ends.
Yeah. When Xavier Hutchinson on that team,
Xavier
too.
Hutchinson was on that team, yeah. And West Virginia got him.
Yep.
And so
Put up 38 on him.
Yeah.
Jared Deggy threw for 950.
Exactly. 950 or 960.
Somewhere in there.
We're going to get the final numbers in. And so it's a true night game, right? It's a true night game, and the uniform thing has taken on a life of its own. A lot of people changing their avatars this week to black and white.
Yeah, what is it? I'm getting a lot of tweets about that. Do I need to do that?
I did it.
You did?
Yeah.
I probably need to do that.
Yeah,
What now?
They're asking you to change your avatar on your social to black and white for the Coal Rush, the black Coal Rush.
All right, I'll go in and handle it.
I don't know how to do that.
As you can see, I'm fully dressed in blackout gear already 2 days in advance, ready to go, but I'll go in and work on that.
Yeah. So these are the things that we do know.
So when I fax something out, it should be in black and white.
Fax it out black and white.
Okay.
This is what we do know.
That looks good.
Thank you. Thank you for the hat.
Just like I've said this several times this week, if you're a fan, right? If you're a fan, a West Virginia fan, like what better opportunity do you want than this one that's being presented to you? What more can you ask for as a fan to be playing in an important game in the middle of the season at night at your place against a team that's got a tremendous amount of equity built up in its undefeated record, and you're coming off of your best performance and people are ready to do their part? Like this is what college football is absolutely about. This is the essence of it.
Tony, well, I was going to say, interesting you would say the word opportunity, because this game gets a 5 rating in the opportunity factor scale.
Excuse me?
The OFS.
Not familiar with this.
You're not. Well, this is something new. I just came up with it this like half hour ago. The opportunity factor scale, OFS. This gets a 5 on a scale of 0 to 5.
Okay.
For example, Albany, the factor was 1 because you could win the game. So it was a 1. The off week is a 0. Penn State was a 4 because you really didn't have a very good chance of beating Penn State. This game is a 5, the highest score you can get on the OFS because of the reasons you just said. You're home. You got this incredible atmosphere you're going to have with this coal rush. You're a home dog, which I'm sure Brad will talk about, but not a dog by much. This opponent comes in undefeated, ranked 11th. You're coming off your best performance. Night game, national telecast. Now, there's some other good games going on Saturday night, too. So in terms of opportunity, this is a 5.
5 out of 5.
Yes.
Not familiar with the scale, but that's very good.
Yeah.
Yep.
The OFS.
I'll work with that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. You know, we talked so much last week about the situational advantage West Virginia had. 6 straight for Oklahoma State. They were facing some injuries. West Virginia off a bye going on the road against a team that was ranked earlier in the year. But you liked the setup and the situation for West Virginia. And West Virginia took advantage then of that situation. You don't always take advantage of those spots. West Virginia did to an A-plus level, absolutely stomped on Oklahoma State and didn't let up. I think you've got another good situational advantage here. Now, I think we would all agree Iowa State's going to be a better football team than Oklahoma State is. So there's your challenge that comes in. But you've got those things that you guys have outlined. This black uniform thing's awesome. I think that's a lot of fun to have that. The players are going to be excited to wear something different. You've got a night game that fans have been clamoring for. And, oh, by the way, you're playing pretty well against a team in Iowa State that's playing well as well. But they have to sit there all week and worry about going on the road in a difficult place to play. They are talking about this is the historic start for them. Best record since 1980. Is there more to come, or is this when there's a little sell back on them? What does Iowa State come in here doing? I think this is really interesting setup for WVU.
As an Iowa native, could you put into context the concern that some Cyclones fans are expressing about going to 6-0?
We've said this many times. I think this is a fan base that has a lot of similarities with West Virginia.
Absolutely.
Super passionate, show up in all conditions, regardless of how the team is doing. It could be 30 below, it could be 95, and they're showing up. And they rally around this team in whatever sport that may be. I think there really is a lot of similarities here. And so I think just like Mountaineer fans would do, when things are going really well, what's the other part of the coin, Hop? What the natural is, I don't want to tell you what.
When is the bottom going to
You
drop
got to
out?
look over your shoulder here. What's coming behind us here that I don't see? I think Iowa State has an element of that for some of the fan base. And I don't mean that in any way disrespectful. I'm just saying that's how West Virginia fans would approach something as well. So there's a part of them for a fan base that has longed for football success, right? They've gone a long time without real high-level football success, and they're having it right now. And they've got a very good team. We're going to get into not only the numbers, but some of their personnel. This is an excellent team. Matt Campbell's done an unbelievable job in changing that culture there and making them believe that they are a top 15 team as they are right now. But I do think there's an element of that fan base that's going, okay, is this for real here for us? Are we going to be able to get to 6-0? Last time they went 5-0 to start the season, they finished the season 6-5. So there's a little bit of that just built in throughout them. That doesn't mean necessarily anything for the team, right? Rocco Beck doesn't carry all that baggage from 100 years into this game, but I think there's some of the fan base, just like Mountaineer fans would do.
Think about that Matt Campbell periodically during practices or in meetings, he'll just yell out, 133. 133 years they've been playing football and have not won a conference championship outright. So 2 things. One is that makes you think that they're in this playing better than they have for a long time, and with what he's done with that program. But also, that's a weight. That's a weight on your shoulders. This is like you were talking about, Brad, like, oh, is this finally it? We going to finally do it? What's this feel like? What's it feel like when you're sick? Can we get there? So new territory, relatively new territory for them. And like Brad said, not just like West Virginia fans, maybe not totally comfortable. Ohio State, yeah, they're fine. 5-0, 6-0, who cares? But Iowa State, West Virginia, you wait for, because of the history, you wait for the other side of that coin or for the other shoe to fall.
And now let's talk about it from a West Virginia perspective. That's from Iowa State's perspective, okay? So I've had too many conversations or too many people bring this up to me this week. But 2 games, Iowa State and Kansas State, if we could just split. Like, when did that mindset start to come in here? Like, are you kidding me? You've got 2 games on your home field against 2 really good teams. Like, is that the mindset to have? The mindset is, this is how you make a season memorable and special. You go get your 2 games. You go get these 2 games because you're at home, and guess what? You're not a bad team. You're a good team. Now you take your crowd, you take that emotion, you take that energy, fingers crossed, you stay healthy in these games, the right people stay healthy. Like, why not? Like, to me, that doesn't even enter into my thought. Like, why wouldn't you be able to win these games?
This is a pretty wild stretch coming here right now as we record this on October 10. Of the 4 best odds to win the Big 12 now, 3 of those are going to play off in the next 2 weeks. Iowa State's the lowest, then Kansas State. West Virginia's 4th right now. This is a massive 2 weeks. Also, side note, by the way, it shows what this conference in college football is about. Your season's not over after week 1
right.
or week 3. Right? You can climb back into great storylines and, oh, by the way, have some fun, right? What do we always say here? Yeah. This stuff's fun. Have some fun. Enjoy the moment. But these are a massive 2 weeks. But, not to be, we always say this, Hoppy, not that we have to take the tact of coaches. We're allowed to look ahead. We're allowed to move the thing forward. But kind of don't this week. Just go ahead and just stay in and play this one game. Because if you happen to get this game, if you handle your business this week, oh, buddy, next week becomes huge. This week's already big. Next week becomes massive, but take care of your business this week.
And another night game next week. So, I know what you're saying, Tony.
This is the fabric of Mountaineer football. Let's go back.
Okay.
Let's go back. Can we go back?
Sure.
Now, this is where the young kids go like, wait a second, this dude's 207 years old. Like, were you there when
how
they
far are you going back?
84, 40 years ago.
Yeah, you're going back.
That's a good way.
Had a stretch of games. Penn State, Boston College. Back to back, throw Syracuse in there, 3 in a row, back to back to back. What'd you do? The place erupted. The place was spectacular. It was electrified. And that wasn't necessary. I mean, Kevin White was the quarterback, with all due respect. He didn't go on to play in the pros, right?
He was pretty good, though.
That was a workmanlike team that you had out.
Some talent.
That was a good. No, don't get me wrong. That was a good team. But that team, we also had like some walk-ons running around there making big. I'm just saying. This is what makes seasons special, holding your turf here. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying, but it should be the mindset that it will happen.
Well, I agree with you is you have the potential to make the season special.
Yes.
Okay, I get that.
So go do it.
Oh, okay, but I'm also saying that you need to be realistic. You're not going to be favored this week. You're not going to be favored next week. So in analyzing it, I get the emotional part you're saying, but in analyzing it, you need to be realistic. Not you, but one should be realistic.
Jumping ahead, if they beat Iowa State, is it a foregone conclusion they're an underdog to K-State?
Not necessarily.
I didn't think so.
Not necessarily. I mean, you are right now, but we'll see.
Yeah.
A couple other storylines. Can I give you a couple other macro storylines?
Is this spreads on stats?
No. No.
This is like an appetizer?
Bonus numbers. These are pretty obvious numbers. I find this interesting as you just try and look, Hoppy, for macro storylines, like you like to say, macro, micro, macro, a couple things. We've talked about this. 2018, West Virginia rolls into Ames with a top 10 team. really skilled at the quarterback and receiver positions. Iowa State, unranked, doing a blackout at home. How'd that one go?
It'll be one day away from the actual anniversary of that game. That was October 13. This game will be October 12. Didn't go well.
Blackout.
To answer your question,
Blackout came through, right?
Will Greer's still trying to figure out where to throw it.
So there's poor Jake Spavital in that offense. You just couldn't move. And we're going to get into this Iowa State defense where it feels like there's 1,000 players on the defensive side. That's what it felt like that night. That really outstanding offense of West Virginia couldn't move it at all. Situations reversed a little bit. Number 11 Iowa State team comes into Morgantown while Morgantown's doing a blackout. That's one. Number two, you mentioned it earlier. Last time Iowa State came here as a ranked road favorite, they were a double-digit favorite that day over a Neil Brown-coached West Virginia team that happened to be unranked at the moment.
Yeah.
West Virginia walked out with the win. Iowa State was as high as number 7 that season. You may forget that. Wow. They were 22 when they came in here. And I'll leave you with this from a macro storyline perspective. Under Matt Campbell, Iowa State has played 2 previous conference road games where they were ranked inside the top 15, as they are now.
2.
Lost them both.
Really?
According to Action Network. Thank you, the Action Network.
Not to get all up in your zone, because you'll have spreads on stats, but in looking at this team, that I wonder how good. I mean, the defense statistically is very good, but are those statistics a little bit misleading?
Skewed?
A little bit, just a little bit. And I don't know. Well, I'm anxious to see Saturday night because Brad, as you like to say, it's got to be opponent adjusted a little bit, right? So when you say they're holding teams to 10 points a game, and that stands out, but opponent adjusted. I mean, Baylor. Now they beat Iowa. A win at Iowa. That's a legitimate win. But Iowa's not an offensive juggernaut either. So what stands out to me about this defense is not that 10 points, because I don't think that holds up. West Virginia's going to score more than 10 points. The fact that they're +7 in turnovers. You're +7 in turnovers in 5 games, you're going to win some games.
Mm-hmm. 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 We'll get to some numbers to back up there.
That was just a macro stat. You'll have better stats.
I've got some numbers for you on that one.
Right. Okay.
A reminder that any of the phone calls that go down from the field up to the press box, I think they're using Comax Business Systems digital phone service.
Oh, good.
Can we look into that?
I'll see if I can confirm that.
Well, whether they are or whether they're not, business owners, if you've been putting off the need that you have for a new business phone system, the folks at Comax Business Systems ready to help. They can go from 1 digital line to 1,000 lines. No job too big. They'll come into a free estimate in your workplace. And you know that technology has changed. You know, we've gone a long way from the pink slip that said, while you were out. Nowadays,
I forgot about those.
Nowadays, you were away.
Nowadays, with the technology and these new business phone systems, wherever your employees are, whether they're working remotely or wherever it might be, constant communication. Check it out. It's the digital phone systems provided by Comax Business Systems. And besides the phone systems, they've got every conceivable piece of business equipment that you could need. Visit them at comaxwv.com. That's comaxwv.com.
I thought you were talking about a different pink slip.
Yeah. So check the numbers. We'll just go right to the numbers. Here comes a heater.
Let's jump into the analytics portion of the show. This is the analytics portion of the show. It's called Spreads on Stats. Spreads on Stats brought to us by the Conley CPA Group. They provide value beyond numbers, complete service public accounting, consulting, serving clients throughout West Virginia and surrounding states. Getting ready for their 40th anniversary, which means they have stood the test of time. Locally owned and operated. Outsourcing your accounting is no longer a big deal, right? They can outsource your accounting and take care of it. You can do a little bit of it. They can come in and do the rest, whatever you'd like to do. They provide that service along with CFO services as well. They can handle that. Outsourcing your CFO services. There's never been a better time to do that. All right, let's jump in. These numbers...
I got a lot.
I don't think you're taking it seriously.
I had to pare it down quite a bit here. This would have been a 4-hour podcast.
But you don't have your glasses on, so it might not.
I think I can see without them here.
Really?
Bigger screen.
You have more credibility when you put the glasses on.
Well, they'll come out for a minute here when I want to make sure, but I think I'm going to start without.
All right.
I'll make an in-game adjustment if I have to.
Okay.
I'm just glad that you're back to operating because, folks, if you're watching the podcast, you might have saw that we were laughing before we turned the microphones on because the senator walked in and was overcome by an allergen like something got after him. His face got all blowed up. I mean, his face is blowed up. His eyes were all blowed up. He's sneezing, coughing. It was disgusting. But you bounced back nicely.
Rallied in-game adjustment.
Oh, you took a pill, didn't you?
In-game adjustment.
Took a shot.
Yeah, whatever you have to do.
Took a needle.
Just like the players do during a game. If this is going like this, they just kind of take that shot.
Had to play. Couldn't ask out of the game. Had to play.
Okay. Go ahead.
In-game adjustments are going to be a big theme here as we go throughout this show. Well, that's an important part. All right, let's dive in and meander through a lot of these, Kirchhoff. You ready?
Yes.
And as always, please feel free to interact as we're going through a lot of discussions. I tried to niche this down just to a couple of areas because there's a lot of things we could dive into. There's a lot of numbers we could hit. Let's start from this standpoint. Let's talk about one of the biggest keys here. And it's almost, you could hit the tape from last week. We almost did this same thing last week prior to the Oklahoma State game. Couple keys. West Virginia's run game against an Iowa State defense that you might be able to run against a little bit here.
Excuse me?
Might be able to. Now, you figured you could run against the Oklahoma State run defense. Did you do okay there, Hop?
Yeah, you did.
Handle that?
Yeah, 300.
The second part then will be Iowa State's passing game against West Virginia's coverage unit.
Right.
Same thing we asked last week. Now, West Virginia did a great job on Alan Bowman and company last week, but we're going to dive into that same matchup we talked about last week because it's really each team's strength matched against an opponent weakness. So let's dive into that a little bit right now. We're going to start by looking at this Cyclone defense. Hoppy, you mentioned it with their statistical numbers. And listen, you don't even need the numbers that Hoppy was referring to, 10 points a game, best in the Big 12 right now. We've seen this. We referenced that 2018 game. This is a really smart style of defense. It is extremely well coached, and it's a different look, right? That 5 defensive back umbrella coverage in the back makes it look, with their D-backs in particular, I want to talk about them in a second. It's like my high school basketball coach used to do when we were playing.
This over at Valley?
Yeah, over at Valley High School there, West Des Moines, Iowa. Thank you. When we used Jim O'Day, by the way, excellent coach, got us to 2 straight tournaments, state tournaments, when I was a junior and senior. When we would
Were you all Metro player of the year?
I was, thanks. Me and Fred Hoiberg, only 2 unanimous all-Metro selections at the time. Thank you.
You bet.
He went on to have a better basketball career than I did, but that's neither here nor there. When we would play a team that was going to press us, what would he do? He'd put 8, 9 guys out on the floor against your 5, and you had to break it. Teams did that when Press Virginia was here, right? That's how you practice against that Hop old school. Yep. Throw 9 guys out there, see if they can break the press. It feels like that with Iowa State's defense at times. You'll look up and you'll watch the quarterback drop back to pass, and it looks like there's 13 defenders out there, 15 defenders. Like, where are you going to throw the ball? These defensive backs in particular, you and I watched some tape yesterday on a couple plays. And Hop, here's what's amazing about these guys. You don't see this very often. As Tony and I sit down and watch film each week, there's a lot of times we see guys the guys that are kind of in there and they're in the scrum and the ball's going the other way and they're kind of fake engaged and I kind of fake can't really get on. I'd love to go help you, man. I can't get away from my blind. I can't get over there. See a lot of that, right? You see a lot of that, a surprising amount of that. Yeah. That in Iowa State, buddy. These guys, these defensive backs in particular, we watched 2 particular plays where defensive backs were engaged in the run game. They came up in the run game. And on one of them, the defensive back's engaged with a blocker. And all of a sudden he sees now it's not going to be a run, it's going to be a pass. And he picks up a receiver that's not his responsibility that is going into the open. This was against Iowa. He was going to be open. This was going to be a big play. The defensive back disengages, falls back, and not only is in coverage, he intercepts the damn ball. Wow. It was a great play. Another one we saw, defensive back on the far left side, engaged in a block. Iowa springs it big around the right side, and he's gone down the sideline. This defensive back, the furthest away from the ball that this defense, he's the furthest player away, right?
Yes.
Took off like a shot, outran 3 other defenders, and then as he got close to the ball carrier, not only went to just push him out of bounds, launched like a missile, just took off and launched and knocked the ball carrier out of bounds. So I'm super impressed with these D-backs. That's going to be one of the challenges. Can West Virginia move it against this back end? I'm going to come back to that here in just a second.
Hey, on that, Brett, who was that player for Iowa State a couple years ago who was that maybe 5th defensive backer in the middle that made 32 tackles and West Virginia never figured out? Who was? Remember that?
Yeah, they called that star position, right? Because didn't West Virginia recruit him?
Who was that? Remember Tony?
Yeah,
no, I absolutely can see him.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Okay,
that's a good. He was excellent. Okay, So this defense is really good. It causes a lot of problems. It's a weird look. Their defensive backs play extremely hard, which, Hop, when it comes to defense, football or basketball, if you play hard. That might be 3/4 of the battle, right? Just get after it. But here's something. Now let's watch this. Now let's go to the other side if you're West Virginia. This Cyclone defense is just 95th in the country in run grade per PFF. It's 117 in tackling grade and 98th in pass rushing grade. They allow 1.9 yards before contact, which is 96 nationally.
Say that again.
1.9 yards before contact, which is 96 nationally.
So you can start.
You give West Virginia 2 yards before contact, and you're going to be in some trouble.
CJ.
If that number holds, Jaheim White too, if you don't get a hand on him early, look out. So those are some numbers to watch. They are really beleaguered at linebacker in terms of injuries, much like Oklahoma State was. And what West Virginia do there? Really took advantage up the middle, and that opened the outside edge running for West Virginia. So that's something to watch, is the injury report for Iowa State. Matt Campbell talked earlier this week. Sounds like a lot of those guys are back, but it was a little bit murky on exactly who. So where are they at the linebacker position? And a defensive line that got controlled by Iowa up front. You mentioned that Iowa offense. They really controlled that defensive line of Iowa State. Can West Virginia do the same?
Greg Eisworth.
Greg Eisworth?
Oh, that's not who I was thinking of, but he was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good for them. Okay, so this defense that I just gave you the numbers, 1.9 yards before contact, 96 nationally, 95th run defense grade, 117th in tackling. They're getting a West Virginia offense that what, Hop?
They like to run.
And is clicking offensively, correct?
Yes.
You mentioned that this is the best offense Iowa State has faced. I'll give you a couple numbers on that. West Virginia currently is 38th in the country in yards per play. The best Iowa State opponent so far when it comes to yards per play, Iowa at 78th. They have 3 other opponents that are 93rd or worse, and the final opponent was an FCS program. So this is a real test. If I'm Iowa State and evaluating it from their side, I'm saying we've got some injuries there on those linebackers that like to press up on you, right? Against Iowa, who was going to run it, they were up in there. It was almost like a bear defense across that front. This is an injured Iowa State group going against a really good rush offense that they have not seen yet. That bodes well for West Virginia. Let me keep going on some numbers. West Virginia's offensive line is the Power Four's highest graded unit so far, 86.9 grade. And is the only offensive line with 85-plus grades in both pass blocking and run blocking. Give you one more. No offensive line even hits the 80 mark in both categories. They're clicking right now, according to PFF. One group's evaluation.
Can I interject something?
Well, sure.
It wasn't all that long ago where some, maybe it was a minority, probably was a minority, but a loud minority, really questioned Matt Moore, West Virginia's offensive line coach. Not getting it done, need to make a move at offensive line. How'd that age for you? Right?
Not well if you were saying that.
Not well if you're saying that.
That unit has been elite for 2 years.
And so did Matt just all of a sudden get smarter? No. I mean, it's like raising cattle, man. You got to wait till they mature. And he started absolutely with baby calves. And he has grown them and grown them and grown them. And now for the second year in a row, they're among the nation's best at running football. So, like, all of you that are like, it's Matt Moore. No, it's not. Sometimes you just have to be patient enough to get the players developed, and now they're churning.
And with that offensive line that's grading so well so far this year, you come with the 3 runners, CJ, Jaheim, and Garrett, who have it going. They're averaging 5.9 yards per carry. They've forced a missed tackle on 31% of the attempts, the 3rd best rate in Power 4. So if Iowa State does what it normally does and gives up 2 yards before contact, and then you mix in these West Virginia backs that are making people miss at an elite rate, that's how the running success comes along here. So I'm going to get into the pass game of West Virginia in just a second, but West Virginia is obviously going to have to run it. That's what it wants to do. It needs to have success on the ground. The numbers tell you the opportunity is there. Now, we'll see if that plays out in actuality, but the numbers tell you that could be there. I mentioned Iowa before. We know about their run game. The difference, I think, in this offense is Garrett can throw it better than Cade McNamara can and did against Iowa State. But Iowa had success around the ends. They went for 211 on the day, but they got 142 of those yards around the outside. You wonder if that's different now because of the injuries, though, with Iowa State. Can you hit them up the middle? So keep an eye on that. All right, that's West Virginia's rushing offense. Again, I'm going to come back to the pass offense in a second. Let's flip over to what Iowa State does really well and where there's a potential matchup challenge for West Virginia. The ISU offense has two of the best wide receivers in the country, even though I don't know if they're getting enough national love. These guys are really good. Noel and Higgins, both top 5 nationally in receiving grade, and Rocco Beck throwing to him. Beck has really blossomed here over the last year, and I'll get to him in just a second because he's doing some things really well. But no Power 4 team has a lower coverage grade on targets of 10 yards or more than West Virginia. And they're going against Iowa State, which has the 5th best receiving grade on targets of 10 yards or more. So there's a matchup to watch. Again, no surprise, West Virginia's pass coverage, especially downfield, against Iowa State's receivers that are very, very good and physical. So let's talk about Jalen Noel. I'm going to say Noel the whole time.
Well, it's spelled N-O-E-L. I know you got to change the spelling on that.
Jalen Noel, big-time playmaker. 71% of his catches go for first downs. His average depth of target, 13.1 yards. So they're going to throw it downfield, as I just outlined. Jaden Higgins is really impressive, too. Good size. A lot of times they'll just throw it up. They just put it up to him and tell him to go get it and make a play or get a pass interference call. 7 straight games with a touchdown for Higgins. 67% of his catches go for first down, and he's got almost a 12-yard average depth of target. So they want to push it to these guys. Hop, you ready for this one?
Yes.
This is from my friends at Sports Info Solutions.
Oh, sure. SIS.
SIS went deep on this one. Higgins is first in the Big 12 in receiving yards out of a trips right formation.
That's very specific.
Say that again.
So if they go trips right,
he's going to go to Higgins?
Higgins leads the conference in receiving yards out of that formation. He's been targeted it's a small sample, 6 times in that formation. He has 4 first down catches. So keep an eye on that on trips right. Iowa State, though, Hop, has the lowest graded pass blocking unit in the Big 12, going against West Virginia's pass rush that is 7th right now in the Big 12. Now, even with that pass blocking grade, teams haven't got a lot of pressure on Rocco. That's his ability to get it out and his ability to take off and run, which he has done much better this year than he did as a freshman. He's dangerous with his legs now. In fact, he leads the Big 12 in expected points added per attempt on quarterback runs. Those are successful plays, basically, is expected points added. So he's doing really well in that category. But keep an eye on this offensive line. It was one of the worst in college football last year. Now, they feel like they've upgraded. Left tackle's been playing very well. They feel like they've stabilized that offensive line a little bit. But we've seen West Virginia get good pressure, Hop, in multiple games this season. TJ Jackson, Tyron Bradley, Sean Martin, Trotter coming, Lathan coming. What's one way to help the defensive backs in coverage?
Yeah,
get some pressure. Even if you have to flush Rocco, even if he runs a few times on you, flush him, get him on the move, and see if you can help your defensive backs. The scary part, if you're West Virginia, if you listen to people that follow Iowa State closely, they feel like they're on the verge of an offensive explosion. It's been a little bit slow starting for them. They started to get there against Baylor where they had a running game come along for the first time, and they feel like they're really balanced right now, which that's a difficult team to defend when they're really balanced. So watch them. They've been very good so far. 81st in yards per game, but they're 27th in yards per play. So they're getting after it. They get after it in yards per play. They've been explosive with those 2 receivers. Okay, one more thing. How are we doing on time?
I think you're on a roll.
Absolutely.
Right. Let's go to this West Virginia pass game because I think at some point you're going to have to throw it. The West Virginia run game is what gets all the love, and rightfully so, especially what they did last week. And we're talking about Iowa State's pass game. But if you look at PFF's numbers, and again, I know this is one data point, their grades in the pass game are just 1 point off of each other. So this might be a little bit underrated passing game coming for West Virginia.
Is this bringing you to tears?
Yeah, no, because I'm trying to.
Oh, your computer froze.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to give. I don't want to give overwhelm you too much. Although I maybe already have. So one of the things you have to do against them, and West Virginia did not do this well in this 2018 game we talked about. There's a couple places that are open. The middle sidelines tend to be there. If you can get down and get over to the side and attack there, that's one. But then there's also
what's a middle sideline?
Well, like 10 to 20 yards over to the sideline. So you get past the linebacker depth in front of that umbrella coverage over on the sideline because that middle gets awful congested at times, right? So you've got to be patient and be able to hit underneath, because that back end of their defense is designed to do what? Take away the big plays. They want you to throw underneath, and teams have been doing that to West Virginia so far. I'll get to a number that backs that up. So is West Virginia able to do that? That's not exactly what it wants to do in the pass game. It wants to run it, and then hit you over the top with a big play. Can West Virginia alter what it does and hit some of those middle sidelines and hit the slants, right? There's some slant availability there. Come down, get in behind the linebackers, especially if they have to crunch up to protect against the run. Iowa had a couple opportunities that were right there, and that middle of the field can really open up. Now, if you can get those two deep middle safeties to drop down and start to help because you're really pounding them with the run, now you can come under and you can go over in the middle of the field. Let's talk about that for a second. That's where Garrett really wants to go. He loves the deep middle. Nearly 50% of his passes of more than 20 yards go into the deep middle area. Mm-hmm. Last season, 9 of his 16 touchdown passes came right there, deep middle part of the field. But this season, he has 0 touchdown passes in that area so far. So teams know that too, right? I'm not giving information out here that other teams don't know, so they've been taking that away. So make Iowa State choose on that. What are you going to do? Do you want to stay back, and then can West Virginia run it on them and force their hand? And when they do, then can you hit them over the top? And 2, can you RPO them to death, suck people down, and then hit Hoppy and guys right across the middle for catches and or yards after catch the ball in the middle of the field and take off? So watch this passing game. This has the feel to me, there's a lot of things going on here. And I do think West Virginia's ability to run the ball is going to be the number one key. But it feels to me as if this is almost a really high-level one-on-one game here with Rocco and Garrett. Which of these quarterbacks is able to play better in this game? That's probably where the winner comes from in this one.
And their defense is really built to sucker you, is what it's doing. Very tight passing windows in this defense of Iowa State. They're basically baiting you to throw a difficult pass. So all week long, West Virginia coaches have been, coaching Garrett to don't bite the bait. Don't bite the bait. Don't, because Garrett's, what is his personality?
Yeah, go for it.
His personality is, I'm going to, right?
Yeah.
I'm pushing all my cards in.
Let's go.
How much do I have? I'll push.
Yeah.
He has got to be able to be judicious in this game. He's got to be able to tuck the ball, go get 5, slide down, go play another play. Judicious. That's the key. If he tries to force, that could prove to be fatal. They'll be able to move the ball, but it will be in moderation and small chunks. Don't try to go out there and score 3 touchdowns with 1 pass, because it'll bite you.
Couple other numbers. Garrett's most successful throwing zone this season has been middle of the field, 10 to 20 yards. He's shooting that at a 68% clip. You do that this time, I think you have a lot of success in the passing game. Stick it in, right? Give it if they hold back. If they're up, if those linebackers are up, pull it and hit Hudson Clement all day long on those slants in that area where you want it to be. When West Virginia won this against Iowa State back in 2021, they had 2 plays, 2 10-plus play drives that ended in touchdowns. That's important for what you're saying, where you got to be patient and go down the field. You get a couple of those, and that starts to loosen that defense up. Then West Virginia came back in the second half on them and had a 5-play touchdown drive and a 6-play touchdown drive. Then the big play started to come there. So can you get some of those in the run game? Iowa had a couple of them. Iowa had a couple there. Keep an eye on that.
It's really good work.
It is good work.
Tell you what, Conley CPA Group, they get value beyond numbers with your numbers. I mean, you've been bringing it. Feel good about it?
Yeah, because the numbers are starting to mature now that we're halfway through the season. Now you get some good stuff.
Okay, so with all of that said, what do you think the absolute key to success for either team is?
Well, I think it's what we started with. Because if West Virginia is running it on this team, I feel like you're going to have some success. And what's your ability to slow those receivers? That's a really tough matchup. Those dudes are both good, and I think Rocco's playing at an extremely high level. That's why I think it really – there's a lot of guys on the field. Quarterback's the most important position out there. These are 2 really good ones, 2 of the best in the league. Which one of them has better performances this week?
Mm-hmm. Rocco, from afar, right, has never seemed to be overcome by any of the other things that go on during the game. I mean, rock solid, right, mentally.
Yes.
You just don't know if the fact that, here's his dad going to be honored here during the game and coming into the Hall of Fame. His mom is from Harrison County. You don't know. I mean, he's given no indication that the moment will become too big for him. And does he use that as fuel and play at an even higher level, or does it kind of, let's face it, he grew up looking at gold and blue stuff throughout his house, and now he's going to be on there playing against them. Don't know.
Well, I tell you what, he was cool in that game against Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, late.
Big time throw late that got him the win.
Big time throw late, got him in position, field goal good. I mean,
he's a baller. Yeah. There's no questions, but you just don't know.
Multiple touchdown passes in 8 of his last 9 games. So they'll feel totally comfortable putting the ball in his hands and those receivers and saying, go against this West Virginia pass defense. Show me, West Virginia, that you've improved that coverage unit as a whole, linebackers and defensive backs.
Yeah. Spreads on Stats brought to us by the Conley CPA Group. You ready for some healing?
Well, that was a deep dive. That was good.
I started rolling tape on that. You just went 19 minutes.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, 19 minutes
strong
soliloquy.
That was like an 18-play drive.
I mean, that was like a
finish with a touchdown.
That was your presentation after your dissertation, right, Hoppy? When they go, what do they have to do when you go get your doctorate? When you finally do the last thing, what's the last thing? You just present it. There's a word to that, isn't there?
Isn't that your dissertation?
Is that what it is? Dissertation, I think you're right, but then you have to
defend it.
There you go.
Defend it.
Yeah, you just defend. Yeah, he just defended it. Just defended it. We all need some healing in life. What better way than get some textual healing? Textual healing is the opportunity for our listeners, wonderful listeners, they're terrific, to chime in, share their thoughts on a bunch of different stuff. Brought to us by episode800.com, episode800.com. That's where we have all of our merchandise, coffees, beers, clothing, hats, windshield wipers, ball bearings. I mean, whatever you need.
I don't think the ball bearings are in yet.
All.
Carburetors,
whatever you need. Adhesive tapes, whatever you need. We got it there. We're getting ready for which potentially could be the biggest Three Guys food court in Three Guys food court history because it's a late game.
Yeah.
Isn't this the first time we've ever had a true?
We've had a 6 o'clock start before, a couple of them this year and last year, but I don't think we've had an 8 o'clock start before.
Yeah, this is the latest starting game that we had at food court. So this is what we're doing. It begins at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock on Friday, October 11th. We're located on University Avenue next to Daniel's Men's Store. The whole setup is right there. If you're an Iowa State fan, this is a friendly zone. You'll meet a lot of good Mountaineer people, and we've got food, we've got drink, we've got cookies, it's just a fun time. People
brownies, wine,
socialize. Come on in. We'd love to talk with you. Hudson Clement's dad is playing 2 sets on Friday night. And that'll be at 6 o'clock-ish or so. Ish, something like that. So
2 shows.
2 shows. Might bring them back at 7:30 for a second show. So let's do some of this stuff. Look who this is, starting things off. Hey, guys, it's Mike from Conley CPA Group.
Hey, how about
Mike.
that?
Hey, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
I've spent the last 30 minutes trying to register for a virtual work conference that lists the conference times in Central times. Class times then go to Eastern, and then they sent me my calendar invites in Central. It gave me a nosebleed. Canceling my registration in protest is a show of solidarity with the Eastern time zone Big 12 teams.
Well done.
Mountaineers by 100 on Saturday, no matter what time the game starts. Also, someone brought us in some Reese's bats to the office. Look at that. They're shaped.
Yeah.
He says they're shaped like Santa's bow tie. Thank you very much.
That was a strong text from Mike out of the gate. Well done.
That doesn't look like
Mike will probably be at the food court. Saw him at the last one.
Yeah. Isaiah in Clearwater, Florida wrote in, I'm boarded up and I'm ready to go. Fun fact, look at he put those metal shades down.
Hope they're okay.
Yeah. Clearwater, Florida has evacuated the same amount as Mylan Puskar Stadium has this year. The only issue for me is after they close all 3 bridges going back into the city, I'll need one of those pontoons from Lou Wendell Marine Sales to get back home. I'm hoping for a huge Mountaineer victory this week against the Cyclones, and certainly do wish everyone that's been involved, obviously got a ton of West Virginia people in the state of Florida, and hope that everyone has, stayed safe during that just unbelievable storm that came through. With a reminder, by the way, he mentioned Lou Wendell. Lou Wendell Marine Sales is the single largest pontoon boat dealer in the state of West Virginia. Family-owned for nearly 50 years, biggest dealer in the state, featuring the Avalon pontoon boats and those G3 boats. It's kind of fun this time of year, right? You're out
There's
there.
one right there.
There it is.
Yeah.
There's
Fish right off the front of that.
G3 John boats. They've got them all manufactured right here in America. Check them out at LouWendellMarineSales.com. That's LouWendellMarineSales.com. Texter writes in, daylight savings time ends November the 3rd. Good news is we get an hour of extra sleep on Saturday night. The bad news is it'll be dark before 6 p.m.
Hate that.
Winter is coming, says the texter.
Is that a text from you, Tony?
I didn't write it. No, I didn't. Texter says, I'm laughing at your discussion of being nervous about the game coming out of halftime last Saturday. I understand. October 19th, 1970 is why I'm nervous until the game is over. I recognize it was 54 years ago, but when you give up a 35-7 halftime lead to Pitt and lose 36-35, it sticks with you. I was 13 years old. As always, thanks for what you do for Mountaineers everywhere.
Score more points.
Yeah.
Just keep scoring.
Hey, guys. J Mac in South Parkersburg here. It was mentioned that Nathan Adrian was now playing basketball in Japan. How cool will it be to have him see Chase Fielder get together for a West Virginia connection photo in Japan? Remember Chase, don't you? The former Parkersburg South and Florida Gulf Coast Dunk City star. He's also right now playing in Japan. I don't remember if those guys ever hooked up in high school, but I'm sure they saw each other in summer ball. I know it isn't football related, but I'm too anxious about the next 3 weeks to talk football. Just go get the next one, guys. Texter. Fellas, the only way to listen to three guys, the way to get after the two-biscuit challenge is to go with a bang butter biscuit and then a biscuit of your choice. Or, how about, look at this.
There's a picture.
How about the climb? If only Neil could go full Jimmy Johnson. This football team is an egregious Mylan holding call from being 4-1 with a little number beside your name. The vibes are in the right place once again, and I'm beyond ready to finally make a trip to Morgantown again and get some Rev Kev barbecue and some Connection 304. And then he adds this, my obligations working for Marshall makes it difficult at times. Blaine, currently in the Joan. There he is. So he was in the press box there at Joan C. Edwards Stadium, and he had a Tudor's biscuit there and a cold drink.
And listening to three guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Texter says, this is a bit long. It's from the Greenbrier Ghost. I've got an apology/request for Tudor's Biscuit World. Oh, boy, what is this?
Oh, what's coming?
On New Year's Day morning in 2001, after a night of celebrating the new year, tongue click, my buddies and I rolled down to the Tudor's Biscuit World in South Charleston. As I stepped up to make my order, I thought, I'd really love to order a Mountaineer, but I'm not a fan of ham on a biscuit. What I really want is a sausage biscuit, but that's a herd. But I'm definitely not a fan of Marshall, and I don't want to contribute to their biscuit outselling the Mountaineer. So,
existential crisis.
I ordered a Mountaineer and requested that the ham be replaced with the sausage. The attendant responded, so you want a herd?
Yeah.
I said, no, I'd like a Mountaineer with sausage instead of ham. The attendant responded, so you want a herd? I responded, no, I want a Mountaineer, but replace the ham with sausage, and you better not plug my order into your computer as a herd. In short, I made a small scene a la Brad going into the Go-Mart and need to apologize to the helpful attendant who knew I was ordering a herd, but was asking for it to be computed as a Mountaineer. My apologies. My request to this day is the Tudor's Biscuit World should make it possible to order a Mountaineer, but have the meat choice be optional. I will not contribute to the herd outselling the Mountaineer.
That's fine.
I think I'm with the Tudor's employee on that one.
That's been 23 years. I think statute of limitations over. And here's the deal. Go get a Mountaineer, go get a herd, go get whatever you want at Tudor's, but you just know that Tudor's is the way to start your day.
World champions.
I mean, they're the best.
I mean, the fact that you recognized,
sure.
Oh, okay. You want what you really want is. I mean, it was helpful on her part.
Sure.
In fact,
Texter, I wonder if Go-Mart will have the 10-pack candy cane fly rod Slim Jims. Have you seen those?
What? I have not seen these.
So that's a candy cane with Slim Jims inside of it.
Really?
Available probably at Go-Mart since they sell.
That's well done by Slim Jim.
Well, sure.
Taking advantage of the season, although we're not quite there yet.
So, well.
No, Christmas stuff is.
I do know this. If you can't get the candy cane at the Go-Mart, you can get their 10-foot fly rod Slim Jim. They've got a Slim Jim at Go-Marts across the state that are as long as a fly rod. You can just
but you've got to do it like you're bringing lumber back from a place, right? It kind of goes through the back. You got to have something open so it lays out the back. You put one of those orange flags on the back.
Yeah.
So if they're behind you, you know you're going a little slow.
They should have those at Cabela's.
Yeah. My brother
10-foot Slim Jim.
Speaking about my brother just got a new pickup truck, right? And
what kind did he get?
He got a Ford F-150.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there was one he was talking with some buddies here in the state about buying, but couldn't pull the deal off. I said, well, why? He said, because it didn't have the window. You just mentioned the window.
Yeah, you got to run stuff through the.
He goes, I got to put conduit back there. He goes, I got to run that through the bed. He goes, it's got to go through the bed. I got to have that. If it don't have that, I can't run my conduit. I said, okay, fine.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, 3 guys. How about this one? Guys' Night Out was held at the Red Carpet Lounge in Charleston on Saturday.
The Rouge Carpe.
Yeah. Thank you to Spriggs Distributing for making Connection 304 possible for that event. They had Connection 304 at the event.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks to Spriggs. That's our is that our distributor down there?
I think that is correct. Yeah. Well done.
By the way, working on my top 10 list of things not to bring up around Brad Howe. So far, I have clowns, lawnmower battery, Mothman, handkerchiefs, and Frankie Valli. I'll add more episodes to 800. Signed Elite 1, Jennings.
That's Jennings.
Kanawha Valley.
Did you get your grass mowed?
No, not yet. I got a real problem. I'm probably going to get cited. It's so long. I need some help.
I mean, how high is it?
High.
Like
embarrassingly high.
A foot?
No, but it's high.
If you'd accepted our offer a week ago. I don't mean to yell at you. I mean, I just was offering.
I don't know that. What was your offer? Were you going to come over
and
do
you
it?
I told you we would bring over our mower.
I don't think your mower would handle it. I don't think it'd handle it. Can I give you a quick red carpet story?
The Rouge Carpe in
you
Charleston?
You want to hear this real quick?
Yeah.
One of the first places I visited when I first got here, so I was in charge of advertising and marketing and sales for the athletic department. So we're getting ready to do an event down in Charleston, and my boss says, "All right, we got to sell a game program. Need you to go to Charleston and don't come back till the program's sold." True story. Got kicked out of Morgantown. Had to go to Charleston. Really didn't know many people or have a lot of connections at that point. I'd only been here a couple months.
Yeah.
So had somebody set me up. They helping me with some different places. All right, call these couple of places. They'll be able to do this. One of them was at the time called the Red Carpet Inn.
Rouge Carpe.
Yeah, but not lounge.
Right.
Inn, right? It was
the inn, not the bar.
So I had the number, so I called, and guy was great, Charlie.
I remember
owner. Charlie was awesome.
I remember Charlie.
Charlie says, yeah, absolutely, come on over. I'd be happy to do that. So I'm thinking, sweet, got a sale. This is awesome. So I'm driving. It was pre-GPS, right?
Pre-cell phone, too.
Pre-cell phone. Yeah, I made that call back from the right by the Long John Silver's there on McCorkle. That was my payphone stop. Head over there, finally find it, and pull up, and I went, oh, this is not a hotel. I might have a little situation. Because at the time, there were rules. Unlike now. I mean, you can do whatever you want now. At the time, there were rules.
Yeah.
And we couldn't necessarily have a bar in the game program. But I had already said we're in. So I rolled in. Charlie and I did the deal. I mean, I didn't even know how to say no with that. Like, I can't take your money. So I came back out, went back to that same phone, called back, thought for sure I was getting fired. Said, I've sold an ad, but here's who it is.
Did you take it?
Yeah, took it.
Absolutely. Why not?
Did you get?
Thanks to Charlie, one of the all-time greats.
Oh, so the red carpet was in the program?
Yeah, it was in the program.
Rouge
Oh,
Carpe.
I like that.
They serve food there.
So
there's always a soft spot in my heart for the Rouge Carpe.
So it's still open.
I don't know if it still is.
Yeah, that's what they just
Oh,
wrote.
yeah, it's still. Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, Jennings is there.
Used to be. Maybe it still is. A big reporters hangout.
Oh, really?
Because it's not far from the Capitol yet.
Yeah. Texter says, Tony, I'm glad to see the stiff arm returning. Yeah, there's a few stiff arms last Saturday.
Two of them, CJ and Jaheim.
Pigpen from Boone County writes in, I like the idea of a 3 guys biscuit. I think it should have 3 different meats, maybe 3 of your favorite meats, especially if they're all different. That's possible.
Good idea.
Josh from Audra State Park, do you think the slow start this season actually sets us up better for a tough stretch? Last year we had a chip on our shoulder and we played like it. At this point we've got some momentum, but we aren't really being talked about. This is an interesting question. Next text. Our boy, Jason in Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
The massive mega construction project manager who he likes to, for amusement purposes, put some money down on the Mountaineers.
Oh. Is he the one that bet like 1,000 and 3,000?
Yeah, that'll be him.
Okay.
Hey, guys, I'm loving the show as always. Some thoughts on the replies to my last text. As far as trusting that people who do something for a living are competent, I'm not going to just assume that because someone has a job, they're good at it. I come across people every day who do what I do, have been doing it a lot longer than me, and based on their results, I wouldn't hire to scrub toilets. In my experience, the majority of people are terrible at their jobs, but then again, I work in mega construction. However, you don't have to work in the sewers to know what blank smells like. I'd be interested to see the win percentage when West Virginia doesn't start with the ball. I was so surprised at the percentage when receiving that I just stopped. I'd go straight to the numbers. But I've been playing horribly lately, so I'm going straight to the range instead. As far as betting on WVU to win despite my position on Coach Brown, the season wins bet was made before we came out against Penn State and were completely non-competitive. The bets on the Cowboys game were more a bet against the Cowboys than for WVU. Kind of like when you vote for a politician, but it's really a vote against the other guy.
Thanks, Jason. You just keep racking up those thousands thanks to Coach Brown. We'll appreciate your thanks later.
Yeah, he cashed a lot of tickets last week.
He did cost a lot of money there behind the backs of Coach Brown.
Hi, three guys. I'm excited to be back home and be privy to all things West Virginia. My son Rob will be there also, and we'll be going to the Iowa State and Kansas State games, the men's basketball exhibition game, and, of course, the Three Guys food court, and possibly bumping into one of you. Rev Kev's meat tray will appear at my tailgate. Who could ask for more? I do feel compelled to comment on Neil Brown and the football players in general. Fans should be grateful that Neil Brown is a coach, not only for his abilities, but his guidance in all aspects of lives in the players and the culture he's created among the players. And a thought for the fair weather fans. Not a player takes the field and purposely misses a tackle, drops a ball, or injures themselves, or otherwise doesn't perform to the best of their ability. Let's go. It's MJ in Savannah. That basketball exhibition's a week from Friday.
I know. Can you believe it?
Is it really?
Yep. It's here.
A week from Friday.
Hoop season.
Hey, three guys, this may be too late to make Thursday's show, but I have to get it out anyway. I'm listening to everyone talk this week outside of Mountaineer country. No one is giving the world champion Mountaineers the credit they deserve for shutting down Okie State. It's all about how bad the Cowboys are this year. To take a segment from Hoppy's other part-time gig, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Let's go Mountaineers. Coal Rush, under the lights, big win Saturday night.
That's okay. Just keep winning. That's all you got to do. Just win games. That's it. It doesn't matter who's talking, who's not talking. Win games.
That really is it. I mean, you're not – if you win Saturday, you will be a story because a top 11 team got beat.
Yeah.
Okay?
So just go win.
It's going to be more about that team getting beat than you winning, but don't worry about it. Just go try to win games, and the narrative will take care of itself.
Just go 1-0. Just go 1-0. That's why they took the schedule in the football building this week and just put a big thing that said 1-0. Don't worry about the rest. By the way, this is the first time this has ever happened in Three Guys history.
What's that?
This is going to be a resumption of Jason and Phoenix's text. I must have copied and pasted and jumped it or something. Anyway, continuing our guy. I've got tickets for Tucson, but I'm worried I'm a jinx. I went to Stillwater for basketball. We blew it. I went to Lubbock for football. Got crushed. Then shortly after, I broke my leg into a million pieces. I'll try one more and see how things go. But if I break my other leg a couple of weeks after, I'm sticking to TV and Tony's broadcast. I think 1-1 over the next two games is reasonable. We're 3-2, which is where I probably most of us thought we'd be after 5, though 2-0 in the conference, which I definitely didn't have preseason. Coal Rush, baby. Can't tell you how badly I want Neil Brown to make me look stupid. Let's go.
Correlation, not causation.
Thank you. I was in Memphis for a music festival this past weekend. Charles Wesley Godwin was one of the main acts and went to see his set Saturday night, proudly wearing a West Virginia hat. I was lucky enough to be front row, and it was noticed by the band. One of the members even came up to me and gave me a high five, Nate, the bass player. Charles came over toward the end, and we briefly celebrated the unbelievable smackdown on the Cowboys. He then immediately proceeded to sing his final song, Country Roads, just as an unforgettable experience, and it was a great way to show the SEC fans we were with the bond that West Virginia fans have. By the way, P.S., Charles was the best set of the entire music festival, and I can say with certainty he made a lot of new fans Saturday night. P.S.S. Excuse me.
Whoa. You all right there, Timmy?
That came up late.
Man.
Oh, boy.
See, he was taunting me for having an allergy attack before the show. That's the karma circling back
What
around.
is happening there?
You all right? Got a situation over there?
Yeah. It's Kathy Martin's fault.
Excuse me?
What?
Kathy Martin, Wren's secretary.
What? How so?
No, don't blame her for your bad food decision.
So I go over and I talk with Wren on Thursdays. And Kathy, with the best administrative assistant in the history. She's been the administrative assistant for every AD going back to Dick Martin.
Some people think she might be the shadow AD.
Could be. Anyway, she pops popcorn in the break room at the Coliseum.
Oh,
in like a concession popcorn machine.
Okay.
So every week when I leave, I go get me a tube. And so that was one of those kernels coming back.
That's one of the top 2 things you don't eat before going on air.
Well aware.
Clearly not.
What's the other thing? Chocolate?
Peanuts.
Oh, yeah.
Peanut dust will get in there and cause you trouble.
Peanut dust.
Glenn from Glenn Ferris writes, 3 guys. Sorry for the text, but I want to put a bow on the Oklahoma State game.
Peanut dust.
Great people at Oklahoma State, from the young men from the Oklahoma State shotgun sports team, from whom I purchased parking from and reasonably exchanged gaming thoughts. Second, the fans in Section 133 who welcomed myself and 2 other WVU fans warmly. Lastly, as I made my way to the corner of the West Virginia sideline, the OSU fan who politely told me, "Thanks for coming out." My response, "Thanks for having us."
Perfect. See?
One of the best renditions of Country Roads ever, with 200 or so West Virginia fans, signed by Glenn from Glenn Ferris.
Good job, Glenn. Probably not your real name.
Kevin in Princeton writes, Tucker DeVries sounds like Nate Adrian, as other listeners have mentioned, but to me, I hear a little Eli Manning mixed in there as well. On another topic, if the Mountaineer biscuit is Pat White, an all-time legend, and the Peppy is Tavon Austin, completely flashy and electric, then the Tudor's sausage wrap is Skylar Howard, unexpectedly great. Oh. You guys should try it sometime. I love the show. Kevin in Princeton.
I'd hit a sausage wrap. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin.
Hoppy, this one is for you.
Okay.
Hoppy strikes again. Listening to the Stillwater SmackDown episode, Hoppy just stated that we likely won't win both of the next 2 games. This underscores last week's discussions about expectations. We already expect that we can't beat Iowa State and K-State, ? Both of which are being played at home. We aren't talking about playing Ohio State and Georgia back-to-back. Come on, Hoppy! 7 wins in a jar of mayo. 7 wins in a jar of mayo is absolutely not the ceiling for this program. Maybe we don't win both. Maybe we lose both. But the expectation needs to change. Hello, Hoppy, Brent, and Foodie. Oh, that was it. That was it. Now here comes another one. My spacing's been terrible today.
It is bad.
It's all run on. Hello, Hoppy, Brent, and the Foodie. I'm here to talk about the Mountaineers' food and everything else. Stuff. Tony, I empathize with you because I, too, made some questionable food choices that I'm not proud of. However, it's hilarious to look back at. I'm currently working 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. most of the time, closer to a 10-hour shift. So I get off around lunchtime. So yesterday, my wife says she wants a milkshake. So I stopped by there at the Cookouts. In addition to her milkshake, I decided to get myself a little something. A burger and fries, but
very good.
Couldn't stop ordering.
What?
Proceeded to order chicken nuggets, a cheese quesadilla, a chicken quesadilla, hush puppies, and a BLT.
What?
I ordered my wife some of my haul, but she only wanted the milkshake. It's amazing how little willpower you have when you're sleep deprived. He's exactly right.
Yeah.
I think it's asleep. Anyway, thanks for the great show. Helps with the day-to-day grind of working on the flight line. I hope the Mountaineers come out of the coal rush on the winning side. Even if they don't, I still support them. Jeff in Goldsboro, North Carolina.
What's the flight line?
Heck of an order.
Look that up.
Oh,
See what a flight line is. I don't know.
Okay.
Most wins of any program without a national championship. We have facilities. We have NIL money. It's time for us to believe that we belong with the big boys. Come on, Mountaineer Nation. Put on your black. Swing by the food court. Let's go do our part to support the boys and show everyone what we're capable of. Chris and Hurricane. Austin and Buchanan writes, Dear children's author, Dr. Scopes, Senator Brent Howell, and Hopscotch. Make that a drink. Now's the time to shout Neil Brown's clock management and 2-minute offensive play calling. Shout out to it. That last touchdown before halftime Saturday killed any momentum Oklahoma State had going into halftime. It seems to be a common theme. Day one, borderline P1 listener, Austin and Buchanan.
Yeah, the end of half, end of game has been really, really good.
Texter says, me and my fiance just recently moved to Georgia, went to the Georgia National Fair in Perry, Georgia, made a bet with her that we would see a flying WV while we were there. After 4 hours of eating fair food, we were headed to the exit when I finally saw that WV connection. Mountaineers are everywhere. Zach from Peachtree City.
Flight line is an area of an airfield or airport on which aircraft, especially military aircraft, are parked and serviced.
Oh, that's neat. Pat from Wheeling, for some reason, this made me think of you guys. Look at those. Golden Reese's.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Thank you. Hey, guys. John and Kaiser, also known as...
Wait a minute. Go back there. Did you see? Because it's part of their text chain.
Oh, go ahead. Put that.
How's the diet going?
Oh, I see.
See that? Not good.
I got you. Yeah, that's good. Thank you very much. Hey, guys. John and Kaiser, also known as DJ Freshie of the Hefeweizen. I've started off by saying I love the new beer, but I still enjoy drinking the old school Kirchhoff ales. This is a good story. I've talked about this bar before. So I was in New York City this past weekend for some Broadway shows, some sightseeing, some general New York food and entertainment. I'm sure you guys know where I'm going with this, but I really just want to get the word out for more Mountaineer fans. We, of course, ventured down to Jack Doyle's Pub on Saturday afternoon to watch the Mountaineer game. This is that bar that's right across from the Garden that West Virginia has taken over. For those that don't know, that's a Mountaineer bar located about a block from the Garden. Once inside, we're greeted with multiple West Virginia flags and jerseys on the wall. We were issued a sheet that included Mountaineer Game Day specials. See that? Look up. They've got their own Mountaineer Game Day special.
Really?
Yeah. And we, along with about 15 other Mountaineer fans, were escorted upstairs to a bar of our own for private viewing of the game. I was able to enjoy the game with some new Mountaineer fans and friends from the likes of New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia. I highly encourage any Mountaineer fans to check out Jack Doyle's if you're ever in the Big Apple, whether for a game day watch or just grab a bite, have a drink, enjoy a little taste of West Virginia and New York City.
Tony, you've been there?
Yeah. James in Grafton writes, with the latest drop episode, 800 Mothman shirt, I've got a bet for Brad's Senator, right senator. Here we go. If West
This is a bet for me?
Yeah. Brad, if West Virginia goes on to win the Big 12, you have to do the championship game recap episode wearing the Mothman shirt.
That's that new shirt. We just put that out, right? Episode 800?
Vote for Mothman.
That's on episode800.com?
It's available for sale.
What is it?
He said, it says vote for Mothman.
On the shirt?
Right on it. It's a black shirt.
And James wants me to wear that if West Virginia gets to the Big 12 championship game?
Yes.
Deal.
That's not even a
good
hard
deal.
to do.
Deal.
Yeah, Mr. Negative. Dirk in Berkeley County, I've got an answer to why there are more texts on a bad day game versus a great day. A study a few decades ago pondered why there were more fan fights at a hockey, soccer, or a basketball game compared to a football, track, or chess match. Conclusions are this. There was no action stops and anger builds up. So you following this? There's more fan fights at a hockey, soccer, or basketball compared to football or track or chess. Conclusion, no action stops and anger. So textual healing is valid. Instead of punching the guy next to you, you send a text. And he says, I'll be at a candidate forum in the Hoppy Kirchhoff building going for county commissioner in Berkeley County. P.S.
Well done.
Either of you other two guys have a building named after you. I got an outhouse. The back. Named after me. Texter, I was thinking about a 2021 game, and I realized that I never shared a picture I took while I was working near Bellingham, Washington. I had to work all weekend in several aggregate quarries and couldn't watch the game, and I had to listen using my iPhone. At halftime, I decided to take my lunch break, and despite Brees Hall running all over us, I knew something good was about to happen when I saw this sign at the grocery store in Everson, Washington, near the Nooksack River. It says, Go Mountaineers. And there's the gentleman there.
It's probably at a Go-Mart convenience store, it looked like.
Yeah, it does.
Sign on a Go-Mart store is where you saw that?
That could have been a Go-Mart.
Where was that? Where?
In Washington State.
Holy cow.
I'll have to confirm.
You know, it could have also been, maybe they were doing a property search for Tudor's Biscuit World because Tudor's is now open for franchise opportunities. They've got over 70 locations, unbelievable brand equity in that. If you're interested in opening a Tudor's, look at that bad boy. You can have one of those. Tudor's Biscuit World, contact them for franchise opportunities. Be the best biscuit you can be.
Googling.
So Clay saw that in Washington. Go Mountaineers.
There is a WVU alumni chapter in Seattle.
Awesome. Someone says, Hoppy, that your commentary this week on cooperation was beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Goes in the thin file.
Texter, I have no doubt the text line was shorter this week than last versus others. Many of us experience the same thing. Our phones get all blowed up after every loss, but every time there's a win, it goes silent. Some dare to be a good fan, finding the joy in a win and understanding it's not the end of the world when we lose, especially if we have no control of the situation.
Have fun.
Hey, three guys, I love the story about Brad's mom having dinner with the Coselles. But how about the opposite? What is the worst celebrity interaction you all have ever had? I'll go first. This is unbelievable. I have an ongoing feud with Barry Bonds. It started in 1991. I'm at a Pirate game when his head was a normal size, literally and figuratively. I'm 12 years old. I'm backpedaling in front of him in a parking lot trying to get my brand new baseball out of the cardboard container so he could sign it for me. I tripped over one of the little concrete parking chalks, and I wiped out. Ball goes flying under a car. Sharpie lid comes off, and now it's got dirt on it. I've skinned my knees. I've got a bruised ego. Barry Bonds is standing over me like the boss in a mob movie and says, "See? This is why I don't do this stuff." And he just walked away.
Oh, gosh.
We have not spoken since. P.S. I love tutors, but be careful how you word things when discussing franchise opportunities. In a recent episode, Hoppy said something about selling biscuits in West Virginia, and it sounded like a threat. Get your numbers up, Caridi, or you'll be selling biscuits in West Virginia. Love the show, Pete in Pennsboro.
How about the Bond story?
You could see it happening.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he wrote that wonderfully. Like, you could see a little kid fidgeting, trying to get the ball out. Here comes Barry Bonds. He got the Sharpie, and he slips and falls. And Bonds doesn't sign it. That's a huge dick move. Huh? Just saying. Just saying.
Have you had any? You've met a lot of celebrities.
I haven't had any. Not that I. Nah, because I kind of, when I see a celebrity, I kind of, instead of going toward, I kind of pull back.
You pull back, yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't rush up and go, "Hey, I
don't want to deal."
Yeah, got it.
I like to watch from afar. If that makes sense. First-time texter here. While I'm originally from West Virginia, I always cheer for the Mountaineers. Above all, I've accumulated a bunch of different second-favorite college teams over the years while pursuing a career in medicine. I spent some time at Wake Forest, and I appreciate you guys mentioning the Kenny Pickett fake slide. That play has continued to haunt me over the past several years. I'm at the 2021 ACC title game, and the fake slide felt like a major play in that game, helping to bury Sam Hartman and the Deacs. After that play, my hatred for Pitt grew to a level I had previously thought impossible. Since then, I've always worked to teach Wake fans the "Eat Blank Pitt" chant to a pretty great effect. It's not all terrible, though. 2 years later, Wake got some revenge on Pitt via the Pickett rule. During the 23 matchup, Wake's game-winning drive was made possible by Pitt's QB sliding and being marked short of what would have been an easy game-sealing first down. Not perfect, the way it's called now, but imagine they'll find a middle ground eventually. At this point, Kenny Pickett giveth, Kenny Pickett taketh away. Thanks for this chance at some textual healing. I love the podcast. Signed by Mike in Lexington.
I know we talked about it last show, but I did look up the exact wording, and I think everybody knew it's when you begin the slide, and that is for the ultimate protection of the player.
Yeah.
Very subjective, though.
It is. That's the hard part.
Very subjective on what's beginning the slide.
Neil did not defend Garrett this week. He said he should have went farther. So, like, look to your side. Don't go.
Both can be true.
Yeah. Don't slide until you see you're past the old stick.
By the way, looking at Facebook, this Seattle chapter is very active.
WVU?
Yeah. They do things. It's not big, but they're active.
So shouldn't we, after all of these years of doing this podcast, shouldn't we start doing our podcast at various alumni functions?
We never go any. Well,
yeah, we're open for that.
I'll tell you what,
we'd be open for that.
They take us in Charlotte in a heartbeat.
When could we go?
That.
When could we go?
Well, there's 365 days in a year. We'd probably find one.
Work out a deal with somebody.
How about for the Tennessee game in a couple years?
Yeah, do that. Trey Ambrace Lastly, listening to Brad's numbers in the Spreads on Stats segments has reawakened my analytical left hemisphere of my brain. It got me to thinking. In the former Austin Kendall, Jarrett Deggy era, if we could get to 24 points, we had a chance at victory. In the new Garrett Green, Nico Marchiol era, has 30 points become the new line of demarcation between victory and defeat for our beloved Mountaineers? Brad, does the data support this?
I don't know that. I'd have to go back and look. You've been scoring 30 a bunch, so what is it, 11 out of 13 now? It's 4 of 5 this season.
Yeah, 30 used to be the magic. Signed by your black and white pictured pal, Lindbergh from Lucado.
Brad, this is for you, but wouldn't it be, because I saw that for another team. I mean, wouldn't that be for just about every team? If you score 30, your chances of winning are significant. So I don't think that's unique to West Virginia. I think that's a stat that applies to just about every team.
However, I think the texter is onto something. Up until about 5-6 years ago, you got to 30, the stat was awesome that you won the game.
Everybody scores 30 now, though.
Yeah, it has diluted that statistic. So I bet you I don't know if it's a massive change, but I think there's some credence to that. 30 used to be your guarantee.
Yeah,
no.
Well,
Not nowadays. Yeah.
Can he get to 30 Saturday against this team? Brad, what's the
I
over-under?
think you need to. You have not scored well against this group over the last 4 or 5 seasons that you played them.
What's
5
the
seasons,
number,
4
like 55
games.
or something?
You're
54?
averaging, it's like low 50s, but the over's taking the money.
Okay.
Because of what we went over. People think Iowa State's going to be able to throw it on West Virginia and that you can run on Iowa State, or that West Virginia will run on that. So that's why the number's ticking up.
West Virginia has only scored over 30 points once against Iowa State since 2017.
Really?
Correct. And since Neil arrived, you're averaging 15.5. But they've scored on you.
They have scored on you. Here's what Iowa State in its last 5 games against West Virginia has scored: 30, 38, 42, 31, 31.
Wow.
You better get 30 on Saturday.
They're averaging
plus
35.5 since Neil arrived. The average scores since 35.5 for Iowa State, just 18 for West Virginia. So you need to get to 30, which is not easy against these guys.
Yeah.
But West Virginia's offense, what did I just say, 11 out of 13?
Yeah.
Somewhere there. They've been scoring. Keep going.
All right, so as we close up here, see, Hoppy, what time it is? The actual Dave time?
Yes.
So you know what I'm going to try to do, don't you?
Oh, you're going to end at 2 o'clock, 2:00?
Because Hoppy for years thought this was actually live. I want to make him – he feels better. He feels better if hey, well, Hop, the show's over at 2 o'clock. We're going to –
Now, why don't you wrap up at 1:59:50 for the legal ID at the top?
Okay, let's start the
See
music.
if you can do that.
Yeah, let's start that. I'll do that.
See if you can
Have
do
fun
that.
this weekend. That's my final message. Enjoy this. This is fun. This is college football. This will be a great atmosphere. Night game. 2 fun teams. Enjoy.
And if you are coming, whether you're a West Virginia fan, Iowa State fan, we'd love to have you at our food court. Once again, 4 o'clock until about 9 on Friday. 8 a.m. until about 6 on game day Saturday.
Next to Daniels of Morgantown. If you're coming in from out of town, just Google that.
Put in Daniels Men's Store. Okay. 3 Guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Gomart. Get a Gomart rewards card. Go to gomart.com for details. I'm not going to make 50.
That's
screwed it up. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. By Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way. You might see Don Cricky at Tudor's Biscuit World. I'll have the Mountaineer. And by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers.
But without the ham.
Here's Tom Osborne and the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and the entire team will eat at Tudor's Biscuit World on their way to Gomart for a refreshing drink of Connection 304. All right, we're out. Be good. Thanks for being with us. Thanks to producer Austin. We're back Sunday with our post-game recapular of the Mountaineers and the Cyclones. See you.